Hey there, Smite fans, and welcome into a new edition of Team Check-In. Today, I'm joined by the Bug/Box Boys, the SPL Scarabs. It's Inbowned, Layers, and Boronic joining me. Fellas, good to get a chance to catch up with you and talk with you. It's been a little bit. You guys are coming off, as we're recording this, a pretty big moment for you guys. Coming off a win up against the Jade Dragons this week, and let's start there, because I think that's what a lot of people are going to want to talk about. Bobby, look, I get it. We expect to win every game, yada yada yada. But I mean, come on, fellas! It's the Dragons. Like, how exciting was that for you guys, and how surprised were you?
I mean, it's you got to start somewhere. You got to start winning somewhere. So to have it be the Dragons is just a great place to start, because it's definitely not going to get harder than the Dragons. It may get a little bit easier, but yeah, it's just a really nice place to start. I enjoy having the first one against the Dragons.
Yeah, Layers, I imagine that going up against Sam in particular, I mean, he's kind of touted as the jungler to beat in the league right now for a reason, and to have the kind of performance you did must have felt really good.
It definitely it was a really good team win, but I think me and Sot in general played like great. That's usually how we do play in scrims. I think we played amazing, so it's good to win.
A little bit taking the scrim team out into the wild there. Baronic, you've been around the competitive scene for a while, just not at this SPL level. Scrim performances versus in-game performance is sometimes hard to marry together. Was it just your day, or what do you think led to it?
I think I told Dolson when he interviewed me. I think it was more of, I mean, yeah, I guess we were nervous, but I think just this whole SPL setting, we just needed reps, like getting comfortable, like playing, because you could just tell, like, a lot of our games were in our hands, to be honest. Like even the Bolt set, I mean the Warriors, that's something we just played bad, but like the Bolt set, we farmed very well, did everything, and then like we just didn't click. Like we were just kind of coasting through. I guess, I don't know, playing, I wouldn't say scared, but just not being opportunistic at all, like how we usually are in scrims, I feel. So, yeah, I feel like, just getting a few weeks in, now we're starting to get into our groove. I'm just glad we are able to present, like, our actual, like, everyone sees our potential as a team. So, it's still early on, but.
Yeah, impossible to deny the potential now, especially after a big weekend like you guys just had. How different has the SPL been for you, Boronic, in comparison to what you expected?
Honestly, even for me, I'm a very like level-headed person in general, I'd say. So, coming in, I thought it was not going to be much different. I've been to plenty of lands, competed, like you said, for forever now, it feels. Like, I don't know, man. SPL is just a different beast, I guess. It was a rude awakening for me, Layers. I guess just me and him, because that was our debuts or whatever. But yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think Layers can say too. I don't think we expected that level of, like, I guess, intensity coming into SPL. So
yeah, Layers, your thoughts?
The gameplay wise, it's a lot slower, I think. In like actual games, it's a lot more tactical. People are a lot more conserved. They're smarter. It's harder to like just look for bonehead plays like you can in the SEC. You can just kind of like force whatever. But in these games, like if you go for like a stupid play, like a bonehead play, like as my team would say, and then you get nothing for it, like it'll be a lot more calculated and fight around buffs and stuff like that is like the big thing. So make sure you get stuff after the stuff is like the most important thing for SPL, I'd say.
Man, SEC players loved stuff after the stuff. There's the famous jelly clip, of course, that I always think of. But I don't know. You guys just really latched onto that one, huh?
Yeah. Well, we kind of had it just drilled into our head from Zap, because Zap would be like, "Oh, you're taking a fight around nothing again, Layers. What are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Oh, my fault."
Yeah, Layers got it the most. Layers got it the most in scrims. He got it the worst.
He
like,
listen.
What are you getting off that play, by the way? Like, you're just dying.
What do you mean? His golden XP, the other guys, right? You're killing them, aren't you? That's not enough for Papa Zap, I suppose.
No.
Bobby, for you, I mean, you played SPL all last year. You've had that little bit of level of experience, but having your boys, I mean, you three teamed together for so long on the console side. What's it been like teaming with these guys again after that brief hiatus?
I mean, it's just weird. We learn the game a lot differently than most SPL players. Like once you start on PC, you kind of know that stuff, learn that stuff from PC players, and we learned from each other or other top console players. So we had to I had to relearn the game. I'm pretty sure these guys did kind of.
Yeah.
It's just a lot different, but it's nice to just be back in a place you're familiar, a place you're used to being, and like no BM to the other guys, but I won a lot with these guys. Like, we're used to being at the top. We're used to beating the top players and competing at every tournament. So I don't know. It's just getting back at these guys. You just feel like the winning's going to come again.
Yeah, how different is this team environment to the one that you guys had under Astral Authority and that kind of stuff? Because I imagine SOT is a little bit less quiet than Wolves was, though that's a low bar to have to pass. What's this team environment like in comparison to your old console teams?
I mean,
well, as you could say for sorry, Bobby. As you could say for SOT is just like Wolves. I would be like, "Yo, Wolves, can we make a play in solo?" And it would just be like. Straight up crickets, like no one said anything.
Maybe a VGS if we're lucky.
And it'd be like, I would be like, "Yo, Wolves, can we look for a play?" And he'd be like, "Huh?" I'm like, what? That's just how it would go. Or he'd just not have his mic on. I'm like, okay.
But then he'll all of a sudden flip the switch like LAN. He'll just be like one of the most talkative. It seems like almost.
Yeah. When it's like actually
I don't know where.
turn it up. Yeah, just turn on the jets. He'd be like, maybe I try this set, maybe.
Yeah, if only you're probably sitting there thinking like, where was this during the regular season? Like, well, it can't be. I don't know.
I get mad at him at scrims too because I know his potential and I know how good he is. And in scrims, he would just be like, I'm just here to be like, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Like that's how his whole that was his whole mentality for scrims. So
yep. What about Zap? I mean, having him, I imagine that you guys, your three as a core, were likely the leaders of that Astral squad. Now, from the outside looking in, it feels like Zap is likely the leader of this squad. Is that the case? And how different is that dynamic for you three?
I mean, before it was literally just me. Like, it was basically just me talking, and whatever I said basically went for the most part. And now it's, I don't know, like, is Zap making a lot of calls, or I mean, it's trying to transition back into me. Zap kind of had to change my mind on a couple things. And it's probably going to go back to being like a lot of me, a lot of Layers, and a lot of Boronic. Because when we were on console, it was just my voice in comms. You'd very rarely hear Layers or Boronic or Wolves or Griff or Crim, whoever was with. And I mean, Zap's just taught us a lot of, it's not just my voice that matters. It's information that Layers passes, Boronic passes, what they can do, power spikes. Like, it's a team game for a reason. It goes beyond just comms. Like, they help in the comms too. So right now it is a lot of Zap, a lot of me. But like just our set yesterday, SOT calmed a lot, Layers calmed a lot, Boronic calmed a lot. Zap was probably our most quiet player last game, or our last set. So it's like awakening a new beast in both of those two.
How interesting thing that I think a lot of our fans are probably curious about is, you hear these stories about players who, learn to calm. What is that process like, Baronic? Like, do you just start talking about everything and make them tell you to shut up? Like, how do you learn that skill?
Yeah, I think it was something I really struggled with when I very first started playing competitive as a jungler. I ask anyone I teamed with in the early days, and I literally was like a silent killer back then. Like, I didn't say anything. So I already had to go myself through that process, trying to talk more. I think especially when I started teaming with these guys, the only complaint a lot of people had with me, it was just, to be more vocal about even just the small things, so I think for me, it wasn't I've already gone through that process. So it was nothing new to me, I guess. So,
yeah. Layers, how about for you?
For teaming with the boys again, I think it's a different, Boronic has definitely stepped up. Before he was really silent. And now he's trying to get better with calming. I think that was his biggest weak link when it came to like
Mhm.
just anything, like his like game in general. Is that he would, like you said, he was really good like individually, like mechanically. It's just like at times we just didn't know what he was doing, and we didn't know like his intentions in fights, and he's getting better with that. So that's just how I see it.
And how about for your own development in terms of your communication? Like, how do you learn to communicate better in a team environment?
The biggest thing is just letting my team know what I'm trying to do in the fights. I think that's what they were trying to like harp on me with. Is sometimes in fights like we'll be like, oh, let's look at this backliner, and I would say nothing, and I would be on the other backliner. So like
Mm.
I think an example in the last set is we were looking for Hoi because we got Hoi jump, and then I went on Scylla and I didn't tell them, and they died to Hoi, and they were like, Layers, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, I forgot to talk.
just remembering at times to do that,
Yeah,
Bobby. You're
just
shaking your
remembering to
head.
like calm. And, yeah, just remembering to make sure that they know what I'm doing. Yeah.
It's if he just told us he was going under the Scylla, Sot and I would have just gotten absolutely drilled by this Hu Yi, and it's just those little things where it's if he calls that fight is going way different. But
Yeah. How have you guys felt about the first half of phase one? You know, we're about halfway through right now. Are you where you wanted to be at this point? Are you ahead of schedule, behind schedule? Bobby, in your mind, where are you?
I'm a player with very high expectations for myself and
Yeah.
the teams that I'm on. I expected us to be able to be top 4. I probably lower end top 4 because there's a steep learning curve. Sot's relearning the game. Sot played jungle a lot last year, and then he played SEC. I was on a bottom team, didn't have a ton of experience against the top teams. Boronic Layers coming from SEC, and then Zap getting an entirely new team. So I was realistic, and like the top side was I think we can be top 4. Realism saying like 6-ish area, which is exactly where we are. But I still wanted to be higher. I wanted to strive for these high heights because the faster we get transitioned into the game of it being like a comfortability, then we can expand into new gods, new comps, new ways to play the game. But yeah, 6-ish is, I mean, fine. I think it's a little lower than I would have expected though.
Layers, how about for your own individual performance? Are you where you expected to be at this point in the season?
I think I haven't had really a good set besides the dragon set. In scrims, I'm like popping off and I'm going crazy, and then like I show up to games and I'm like a completely different dude. But aside from the dragon set and maybe the Valk set, I haven't really played up to my standard. As a team, I think we shouldn't have the highest expectations. I think it's good to have high expectations because that's like, but like realistically, I think we are around the spot that I thought we would be. I think we would be. I said before we were going in that we would be middle of the pack, like low, maybe lower end, like maybe like middle and middle-ish. You know, not like a top
Sure.
4. I mean, I want to shoot for top 4, but that's just like the real, like being realistic. You're playing against the best players in the world, so you can't just like it's not as easy as just saying it. You have to go out and do
Sure.
it. So.
Yeah, of course. Baronic, same question for you. Where are you
Yeah.
individually in your play?
I mean, yeah, I think it's with Bobby. I think it's hard not to be like, not to have high expectations after like reigning over like console like and stuff like that. And me personally, I always going with a similar mindset no matter what or who or what I play. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I personally, I'm always confident looking from the outside in. Like Layer said, I think it's very fair to like even. I mean, I think it was fair even people calling us like last place team. To be honest, until we proved ourselves, because especially I took off. I had to take a break. Latter half of last year. So
Yeah.
very recently, I didn't have too much to like show for. So I mean, I was very. I know my capabilities. So it was like I expected it. It was like whatever, but it does suck like leading up to even like performing well in scrims as a team, and then like still seeing people just bashing our team, and then it sucked. It sucked even more when we don't like perform too on like the first few weeks.
Sure.
So it was like pretty rough for us, but I think like as a team we always knew our potential, and I don't think there was ever a moment where we were like, heavy doubting ourselves as a team. So.
Yeah, Bobby instantly shaking his head on that one. Definitely, you're a guy, Bobby, that I always know is going to be pretty confident. If we saw that recently with the generation of some Twitter beef, I got to ask about it. It's kind of my job in this situation. Talk to me about that interaction that you had with Ice Ice and that whole discussion about the Smite Friends League that people like to talk about.
I mean, I just thought it was a terrible take. Like, his entire point was that we didn't belong in the league when it's been what is it, mid-May right now. We started scrimming in April, and if you would have saw how bad scrims were in April and how just like our initial just like introduction, it was just our late game team fights were just absolutely terrible. If the game was not over in 10 minutes, we would have lost.
Oh, speaking of losing, we lost Bobby. Unfortunate freeze frame for him too, huh?
We got him. He's back.
Welcome back, Bobby.
Dude.
All right, so you were. What happened there, bud?
What the? I don't know, man. What happened?
We started getting worried because we're in the same apartment. I thought our internet went out or something.
I was like talking. I like looked up, looked down, and then everything was frozen. I was like,
what happened? All right. Well, you were saying that if you weren't winning scrims the first 10 minutes, that it was looking pretty rough for you guys at that point.
Yeah. Basically, we just didn't have a very good team fight, and we improved a ton, and we started proving to ourselves that we knew what we could do. We were taking scrims off of some of the higher end teams, and then to see Ice, or I think it was Deathwalk originally that said the Scarabs didn't belong when we had already taken a set off the Valks. The Valks were competing. They beat, was it the Warriors or the Titans? I can't remember which team they beat. They beat one of them.
They beat the Warriors.
The Warriors. They beat the Warriors. So it's not even like we showed we couldn't compete. It's even at our weakest and the beginning of our team, we showed we can compete against these players who've been in the league for, Raffer's been in the league for 7 years, Emil 7 years, like Nika 6 years, however many it's been. We've showed we can compete against them, and this is just the beginning of us. And then to have them say that we didn't belong, I just thought it was the worst take possible that someone could have. Especially when they didn't share it with the other teams. It was just the Scarabs. They said, and maybe their take was, I think the bottom three teams were just not the strongest and they deserve to be replaced by some of these hungrier SEC teams. I think I would have taken a lot better to that. But they pointed us out, and then I don't know. I had to get in it a little bit. I had to show him he got 6th place in the SEC, so I don't know why he's talking at me. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a really bad take, or if that's not how they meant it, or they worded it just really poorly to just single us out. I don't know.
Sure. No, I understand. You gotta defend your spot for sure. I get it. Baronic, I want to go back to something that you were just talking about, and that's, your expectations and team's expectations around you in particular, because, when we were doing our content and talking about it, I remember saying, Baronic's pedigree is unmatched on the console side, but you didn't have that much SEC experience. Were you concerned at all about taking this next step? And did you think it was unfair or fair, the level of hesitation that some people had about your spot?
Me personally, I was, a lot of personal stuff went on and, behind the scenes. Sure. So it was like, I was basically playing, if anyone knows me, I tried to hang on, like competing, because I love it. At the end of the day, it's my passion. So I was basically trying to compete like at 10% brain power, basically. I feel so. It's fair to look back at my recent minor league performances. He was like, he played okay. And then obviously I took that break. So I think,
Sure.
Of course it's realistic on paper for people to have those, that hesitation when they see me on the roster. But I think the big thing is, I don't think Bobby, Layers, or anyone would have even offered or, went in this direction if they didn't truly believe in me. So yeah,
Yeah, No, I think that makes a lot of sense, and
Yeah.
it must feel really good to get some validation that you're starting to carry some sets. It feels good and bad, I assume, to see your Giannis get banned away so often.
Yeah, it's just the way the way of the road, I guess.
Where the cookie crumbles.
already making that much of an impact as a rookie is
Yeah. Definitely feeling pretty good. I want to ask you guys about having Slaney as your coach. I mean, Slaney been around the league for a time. I don't remember if you guys had a coach on Astral Authority, but there weren't really a whole lot of
Visions.
Oh,
yeah.
Visions. No, okay,
yeah.
Visions was
Yeah.
legit. I appreciated Visions.
Visions was a good
How,
coach,
Yeah, Visions was great.
Love that guy.
How is Slaney different from Visions, and how much has he impacted your game as a team, Layers?
He is a great coach. I mean, first and foremost, he knows his stuff. He's really good. He helps us in drafts. He's just like he's got a pretty good brain for not really playing Smite like at the highest level. Like obviously, like coaches are supposed to be there for like the sixth brain, and they're supposed to give like their other opinions. I gotta say that he does give me a lot of recommendations about a Wheelix. That's his like kink, like or like niche. Like he loves that. He loves it. I don't mind it, but I played a lot of Wheelix recently, and gotta say I don't mind it. I mean, I like to play other picks too, but yeah, I think he's great so far. He goes really in depth for us. He has like a Google Sheets of like everything that we do, like whether it's like if we win a scrim, lose a scrim, like how many times we pick a pick, how many times another team picks a pick. Like we have so much like info, and he does it all for us. So.
Yeah, I will tell you, I was just looking at Gormizer just tweeted out a big thread of stats like he normally does, and he has a Willix at 29% win rate, which is the second worst of all gods with over 5 games played. So maybe, put Slaney in his place.
Because Lairs isn't playing it.
Actually I played it a decent amount, but I kind of stuck up a lot when I played her in the SPL. So
well, it's not just you, is what I'm saying. Maybe you just got to bring that data over. Also, stay away from Ratatosker because he has a 0% win rate across more than 5 games. So
I mean, I haven't played him either. Honestly, I'm kind of different on Rat. So if I do play a Rat, they're in trouble. So
compare your Rat to Mask Rat because that's the one you got. We're here in NA. Like
Mask is just above the rest, but I'm like kind of like right under him. I'm right there. Okay. You gotta respect the Mask Rat. You gotta respect it because that's just like his pick. So
yep. That's a smart man. That's a smart man right there. Yeah. Before I let you guys go, I want to talk about the rest of phase 1. I mean, Bobby, you said that you expected or were hoping to be top 4. You're what, 6th right now in the standings? Maybe less. If you have a specific win number in mind that you want to hit, then you can give me that. But what are some of the things that you guys are focused on improving on the back half of phase 1?
I mean, it's still just comms. Like that's the one thing that kind of holding us back right now. But yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I don't even know how many round robins there is in the first phase, so I couldn't even give you a number. But sure. I'd say 4. I think 4-3 if we're playing really well. But yeah, we really just got to work on comms. If we can get our comms down, like team fighting is coming down clean. Our early game is getting super clean, and yeah, it's really just comms that I think we need a little bit of help on still.
Yeah, I think, or Layers, do you want to, or Baronic, anyone want to expand upon that? Sorry if I cut you off.
I think we're getting a lot better each scrim. I think our scrims have been really productive. I mean, last week we scrimmed every day, and as you can see, we beat the Dragons. So like, we're only getting better. I think we're gonna get up. Or I think the sky's the limit for our team. For sure.
And I think one of the biggest things too was just finding our identity, because for the longest time we didn't really like have one, and I think we're starting to develop one a little bit amongst ourselves and how we want to play.
What do you view your identity as right now?
It's just me taking the enemy reds. That's the identity.
I think, I mean, as you saw yesterday, is one of our pathways to playing the game and just like letting Layers and Sot like run the show. I don't know. I feel like we can play through any lane on our team, but I mean it's hard not to point out Layers and Sot as our, I guess, star players. So
sure, they've been playing great for sure. I also want to say that you guys, I've been. Well, and Bobby. Whoa, sorry, Bobby.
Of course.
You're rotating over to those blue buffs. It's Layer, Sot, and Inbound. Like that's the way those invades normally go. I've also been impressed with how resilient you guys have been. It was you guys up against the Titans where Scary was 9-0 in 9 minutes or whatever it was. And even though you didn't win that game, I think a lot of teams probably throw in the towel. Now, Cyclone and Benji might have thrown you a couple bones in that set. But overall, I mean, I've been kind of impressed with the mental strength of this squad. Bobby, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, literally through the first like month, it was just Zap yelling, I've done worse. I've had 3 Phoenixes down and I've come back. We can do it now. Like, all right, Zap, we get it. We get it. We can win. All right, I understand.
The way you guys talk about Zap, I imagine like he's the old man on the porch, like yelling at you guys to like, you know, you're picking up his paper wrong, like all that kind of stuff. That's just kind of the way you guys talk about him.
That's like I think that is a perfect thing for him.
He's got like the peaked in high school energy. Like I used to throw a football like 100 yards in my day, but like now he's just like, I once picked Blink Artemis in an SPL elimination match at Worlds, and I won. I never scrimmed with it either. Like that's his whole like he's like that like varsity like peaked in high school. He still wears
Uncle
his varsity
Rico.
jacket.
He's Uncle Rico.
Yeah,
Napoleon Dynamite, an underrated movie, bro. Was that before your time? God, I'm so old.
I've never seen it.
Maybe me and Zap are on the porch together, bro. I don't know why I'm throwing him on the bus. Like I'm inside just waiting to go out and sit on the rocking chair. Guys, thanks so much for the time. Been really fun watching you guys grow. I'm expecting great things from this core. I watched it for years on the console side, and I'm excited to see if you guys can replicate it here on PC. Thanks to everyone for watching as well for the team check-in. Do the like and subscribe thing. I don't know how I'm supposed to close these. I forget. See you later on Team Check-In.